Jedimanda here to give you another sewing video for the week. I can't believe it, guys, it's actually May, which means we're in the middle of the convention season. And if you are like me, you like to do something in conventions called competing. And within cosplay competitions, your skills are forever tested. And this month of May, I'm going to be teaching you guys bits about patterning. Now, tons and tons of you have asked about patterning. You'd like to see more videos about how to make my own patterns, how to read patterns, the differences between patterns. With all sewing, patterns are the foundation of your sewing set. So knowing how to read a pattern, how to make a pattern, how to drape your own pattern is 100% ideal to becoming the top seamstress in all of mankind. Well, maybe not that big, but we'll start at the bottom and work our way up. For this month and probably leading over into June, all my videos are going to be geared towards patterning, and that's going to be anywhere from telling you the difference between simplicity and Vogue to showing you how to drape your own sloper. Yes, sloper. I know it's a funny word, but go ahead and look it up because you're going to learn what it is. So for this week's video, I'm going to teach you guys the differences between the big 4 pattern companies, and those are McCalls, Simplicity, Butterick, and Vogue. Now, to go ahead and say this, there's tons of pattern companies out there. These are the main 4 pattern companies that have been around the longest and have the biggest inventory. And you can buy all of these at all of your crafting stores like Joann's and Hobby Lobby and Walmart, maybe? But these are the ones that most people have ready access to. So we're gonna go over what's the difference between all of them and how they got started and a little bit of history behind all the big 4 pattern companies in this video. Stay tuned. Okay, everybody, here is a snapshot of 4 patterns that I have from the main 4 pattern making companies. And like I said, that's McCalls, Vogue, Simplicity, and Butterick. So believe it or not, there's actually a difference between these 4 patterns, especially in styles and trends, and basically the longevity and the history of these pattern making companies. Out of the 4, Butterick is the oldest, and Butterick is actually the company that owns Vogue and McCalls. Rather, it's under the McCalls pattern company, but Butterick was here first, so they get to call whatever they want. But Butterick does own Vogue and McCalls, and Simplicity is actually its own company by itself. Let's go over Butterick first. Butterick, like I said, is the oldest pattern making company. It's been around for almost 100 years, I don't know, but a very, very, very long time. And like I said, they are actually kind of an all-around trend pattern company. They have a lot of different types of trends, but not a lot of really high-end or super young junior trends. A lot of their trends kind of base around a very basic look and just kind of add upon that. So with Butterick, they actually kind of really specialize in vintage patterns. So if you really love to sew vintage clothing, this is actually the first pattern company that I go look for vintage styles and patterns is Butterick, because they really know what they're doing. Next, let's talk about McCalls. McCalls is the youngest out of the 4, and it really specializes in modern trends and gears towards a younger audience. So if you look at the lookbooks that come out every season with the trends of McCalls, the styles and fashion are very, very on trend with what you see in stores. So if you want to recreate something that you see in a store and you want to make it for yourself, your best bet is to go to McCalls first. McCalls also is, they're like I said, extremely trendy and a really good place to find simpler patterns, honestly, but also some crazy fun patterns. They use a lot of textures and a lot of detailing, but not in an over-the-top designer way McCalls does. Now, the thing with McCalls that I personally love, because I'm a cosplayer, is they were the first big company to really step into cosplay as a whole. Now, all of these companies, besides Vogue, have costuming patterns, but nothing really specialized in cosplay until McCalls contacted Yaya Han and started the Yaya Han cosplay pattern, selection, which I am a big proponent of. It's great. I love it. It really gears towards the styles and the looks of what we're looking for in our costuming today. Because before Yaya came around, I adhered a lot of McCalls costuming patterns to my cosplay patterns and what the styles were that I wanted. So I have a fond love of McCalls, and especially now that they're really specializing in costuming and pushing it really hard with the Yaya Han pattern. Now, that doesn't say that all of these don't have costuming or cosplay patterns, because Simplicity is kind of the next step up with cosplay patterning. They have a very, very, very large selection. Now, Simplicity is actually my least favorite, but they have probably, I would say, the biggest inventory when it comes to patterns available. They are not owned by the other three, so they can do whatever they want. So Simplicity really has a large trend category and collection. So you can find anything from cosplay costuming to junior fashion trends to someone who is maybe in their mid-40s and older and looking for fashion styles along the lines of their age. You can find it all in Simplicity. They have everything. I'm not a huge fan of Simplicity for many reasons. We'll go over that in a minute, but Simplicity also is a big collection when it comes to cosplay patterning, so definitely check them out. If you like them, go for it. The last one I want to talk about is Vogue. Vogue is different from the other three, mainly because Vogue specializes in designer patterns. That's why they have so many different types of patterns with a bunch of different names on them. This one's Anne Klein. Now, their pattern company really watches haute couture, off the runway fashion, so stuff that you really don't see a lot of people walking around. They don't do a lot of super casual outfits. They have a lot of really extravagant designs. It's kind of crazy, but it's very high fashion and I love it. But if you're looking for something along the lines of, you know, straight off the runway, you want to go for Vogue patterning. Vogue also has a really good vintage collection along the lines of Butterick, but they're a little different. You know, this one's a little more Parisian designer fashion from vintage, a little more Dior. This one's a little more basic fashion, not necessarily super high-end vintage fashion like Vogue is. But one thing about Vogue that I tend to tell everybody is if you are a beginner sewer, don't look at Vogue patterns unless they do have a selection in their collection called Very Easy Vogue, which does work, but a lot of their patterns are actually really difficult to do. There's a lot of really small detailing, there's a lot of odd hems, odd cuts. So I typically tell people when you want to start conquering, you know, heavier designed dresses and gowns or pants and suits, go towards Vogue. They'll give you the challenge. Now there are, like I said, tons of other pattern companies out there, and two other ones that you'll see in stores are Berta Fashion and Quixo. There are also two big ones, not as big as the other four, but they have a lot in style. But Quixo is actually a version that uses patterns, utilizes easier patterns and faster items to make, hence the name Quixo. And so you'll find a lot of really basic stuff here, like I'm talking basic. So if you want to make like a one-piece swimsuit, try Quixo. If you want to make a whatever kind of jogging, yoga, aerobics outfit this is, try going to Quixo. Quixo is also owned by the McCalls pattern company, so they do have a lot of the same styles and trends and better website like the rest of those do. The next one I want to talk about is Berta Style. Berta is actually a European fashion brand, and it's not really completely in the US yet. It is to sell and buy, but it's not promoted as much as the other big four and Quixo is. Berta is a great pattern company. Honestly, I think Berta is the most true to size pattern company out of the big four and Quixo. They really know the styles and shapes of women, and they have a lot of really basic to really extremely advanced stuff. The only thing about Berta is that it's not as cheap to buy as it is the other ones, so it's not really pushed a whole lot in stores. But if you get your hands on a Berta pattern, try it out and see how you like it. Plus the paper that you get is not that really flimsy tissue paper. It's a little more hardcore and it's nicer to pattern off with. But I suggest trying out Berta if you want to kind of get away from the American styles and go more into the European stuff. Plus it has a really epic magazine that's hella expensive every month, but it comes with tons of patterns actually in the magazine that you can use. Like, I'm talking like 20 some odd patterns in the magazine, and that's like per every 2 months. So you get a ton of patterns in the Berta magazine. That's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown of the big four pattern companies. Next week we're gonna go over how to read a pattern from start to finish, like how to find your size, how to read the instructions, and how to read the symbols on the pattern itself. We won't really go into cutting out the fabric and, you know, putting it together. We're just gonna talk about what's in the pattern envelope. So that's it for this week. Make sure you follow all of my social media. Jedimanda.com is actually where my portfolio is, and I'll see you guys next week.